Call the Mexico City Council regular session to order.
Nichols?
Yes.
Yes.
Lash? Williams?
Yes.
Botts? Miller?
Yes.
Okay, we have some minutes to approve from the March 9th, 2015 regular session. Move we approve.
Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Lash?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Under resolutions this evening, we have bill number 2015-20, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign contract documents with Freach. Is that Freach? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yes.
Freach paving for 2015 asphalt improvements. This is up for reading and passage. Bruce?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the 2015 asphalt portion of the summer improvement street construction projects. Advertisement for bids was placed in the Mexico Ledger on February 17th, 2015. Drawings, specifications, and other related contract information was also available on American Document Solutions or the Plan Room. 5 bids were received, with French Paving submitting the low bid. Engineer estimate for the 2005 asphalt was a base bid of $107,814 with an add alternate of $21,750 for a total estimate of $129,624. Again, as commented, French Paving out of Columbia, Missouri was the low bid, and with a base bid of the $104,277.11, and for the alternate of $18,180. The streets included this year in the overlay improvement project is Love Street from Agriculture to Stewart, Monroe from Agriculture to Stewart, Crestview, Anderson to Pollock, Monroe, Agriculture to Horde, Neptune, Mars to Orange, and then the Hitch parking lot, which is down here on the corner of Washington and Clark. The add alternate is the parking lot at Fairgrounds Park, which will be paid for out of park funds. As far as references, we have, as a city, have not done business with this contractor previously. However, after checking their work history and recommendations from other communities that have, they do come very highly recommended and have a very good work history. Therefore, at this time, Your Honor, we would recommend that council proceed with the reading and passage of the attached resolution authorizing the signing of the contract documents with French Paving for the 2015 asphalt improvements.
I had a conversation earlier, I just wanted to tell everybody, I was concerned on how the streets are picked, and Kinsey's going to give me some information on that because I happen to live on Jackson, and I have pictures if anybody wants to see. That road's it looks pretty bad because they've gone through and they've sealed all the cracks, and the cracks are just everywhere, all down that street. And that's a main thoroughfare. I mean, when they talk about, MoDOT talked about, let's not work on the bridge when Miss Missouri's here. Well, guess where all those people are coming from out of town? Guess what street they're going down? They're going down Jackson. And when we did the study for community development, the number one thing that we heard from our community was beautification for people that come in from the outside of our community into our community. And so some of these streets, I drove by them, and they look, I mean, they've got some issues, but they don't look bad. So he said he's going to give me some information on that, and I trust what he's saying. I would say also that if we have money in the budget to do some micro sealing, because he said that it was on the plan, that we should probably look into that if it comes available. So I just wanted to put that out there.
It's good to see 5 bidders on this project. I think that's very good.
I make a motion to read bill number 2015-20. Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Lash?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Bill number 2015-20, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign contract documents with Frick Paving for 2015 asphalt improvements, whereas bids made pursuant to the invitation to bid for the 2015 asphalt improvements were opened on March 10th, 2015, and whereas it was determined that the bid of Frick Paving was an acceptable bid. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Mexico, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the City of Mexico, Missouri accepts the base bid of $104,277.11 and add alternate bid of $18,180 for a total bid of $122,457.11 from Frick Paving of Columbia, Missouri. The contract approved is subject to RS Missouri .295.675, requiring the contractor to utilize employees on site with the 10-hour OSHA construction safety training. Section 3, the city manager hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the City of Mexico to contract documents with Frick Paving for the 2015 asphalt improvements. Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the time of its passage. I move for passage of bill number 2015-20.
Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Lesh?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Second resolution we have is Bill number 2015-21, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Brick City Bad Boys Cruise Nights for requested funding from the Mexico tourism tax. This is up for reading and passage. Bruce?
Yes, Your Honor, the Mexico Tourism Commission has received and met and reviewed an application for funding from the tourism tax, and I will turn to Roger Haynes to cover the details of the request and the action recommended.
Good evening, Council. The Tourism Commission met last Wednesday, March 18th, and as part of their agenda, they reviewed an application submitted by Brick City Bad Boys for 5 separate car shows that would take place during the months of May, June, July, September, May, June, July, August, and September. The amount that they requested was $3,500. After review of their request, and of course the funding available through the Tourism Fund, they recommend $3,100 be allocated for the tourism activity. Last year, they were funded at $3,100, which was the second year that they had requested funds. The first year, they were funded $300. As you can see in the application, they anticipate to have about 500 people in attendance at each of those 5 car shows. The staff recommends that council concur with the Mexico Tourism Commission's recommendation and proceed with the reading and passage of the attached resolution.
I make a motion, I read bill number 2015-21. Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Lesh?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Bill number 2015-21, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the Brick City Bad Boys Cruise Nights for requested funding from the Mexico tourism tax. Whereas the Mexico Tourism Commission recommends to the City Council that the Brick City Bad Boys Cruise Night will be allowed to receive tourism funding for their tourism advertising campaign. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Mexico, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that the city manager be authorized to enter into an agreement on behalf of the City of Mexico with the Brick City Bad Boys Cruise Nights for tourism funding. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the time it passes. I move for passage of bill number 2015-21. Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Lesh?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Okay, under other business this evening, we have a staff report, purchase of 2 patrol vehicles for the Department of Public Safety. Bruce?
Yes, Your Honor, the current city budget allows $52,000 for the purchase of 2 patrol vehicles for public safety. This also includes trade-in of 2 vehicles to cover the details of the bids received. And the recommendation, we'll turn to the Department Director of Public Safety, Susan Rock.
Is this the clicker? The considerations that we made, if you've looked at the spec sheet, I'm sure we sent out bids. We got 3 back from Landmark Dodge, Mockins Ford, and Dan Brown Chevrolet. The bids from the Dodge is the Charger, that we've got some Chargers. Those were the prices. We're adding in with, putting in the light bars and all that kind of things. The trade-in was $6,000, and therefore the rear wheel drive Charger is $5,443. The Ford Interceptor, same arrangement, trade-in of $6,000, and it came out to $48,660. That's for front-wheel drive. And then the second number is for the all-wheel drive consideration. And the third is the 2014 Caprice, so it's a year-old car that they have in stock, $81 for the trade-in, and comes out to $48,52. And our recommendation is to go with the Ford Interceptor because of the front-wheel drive, the crash testing, and the 2 50-amp battery circuits in the trunk and things of that nature. The cars are going to be used for the supervisors, so we think the front-wheel drive will be helpful for bad weather, rain and snow, that the front-wheel drive seems to handle better than the rear-wheel drive. That being the biggest consideration.
Glad to see we're going front-wheel drive. I remember when we were getting rear-wheel drives, and I'm from Georgia, and I knew, hey, why are we getting rear-wheel drives? They don't work very well in the snow and all. So, I'm glad we're getting away from that.
Oh, good.
I move we approve purchase of the Ford Interceptors.
Second. I have one question. Do we know why the local dealer didn't bid on it?
They usually go to those guys usually are the ones that make the bids on fleets.
They have to piggyback off of
Yeah.
off of them by the time they had someone really can get, so they start to bid.
Nichols?
Yes.
Nash?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Next, we have the claims.
Move we pay the claims?
Second.
Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Nash?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Next, we have council comments. Chris?
What is, I think we've talked about this before, but I just wanted to be sure. Whose responsibility is the sidewalks?
Residential sidewalks in general are the responsibility of the adjacent property owner. The only difference that we have is in downtown. There is a different issue because the city put those in, but as far as all residential type things, anything not in the downtown would be the responsibility of the adjacent property owner.
So are they required to have a sidewalk or not?
Rita, you want to cover that, but there's no requirement to basically put in a sidewalk. Now, if it's there, they have to maintain it, right? Or they can take it out.
Okay. So are we,
We have a sidewalk replacement program, which pays us $7 per running foot to have that total sidewalk replaced.
well, this got bought up again because now people are out and they're walking around town and they're bringing up the sidewalk. So, is your enforcement person is not riding these sidewalks, apparently? Because some of the people I know, they're like, I've never heard anything from the city. So are we not riding those? Or should we be riding those?
As far as something to maintain?
If there's something wrong, I mean, because like, I can tell you one in particular on Jackson Street, there's a sidewalk and there's a big ditch because it's been tore out for repair or something, and then the sidewalk again. So if you got some kid flying in there their bicycle in the evening, guess what's gonna happen?
Yeah, if you could give her that address afterwards, we'll go ahead and take a look at it.
And it's noticeable, that's the thing, from the road. I mean, I haven't drove, but I mean, just watching, because they put up a cone at one time. So,
One of the things about the enforcement of it is really hard, because even though years ago we used to pay up to 50%, and we need to change the times that we offer the sidewalk program. Now it's year-round. It used to be, at the beginning of the spring, to actually give, some property owners, it's kind of hard for them to come up even with the remaining part to have it replaced. So it's a program that we try to, of course, when we go out to enforce them to try to replace that sidewalk.
So is the sidewalk any different than any other of the stuff that we ticket? I mean, in the bigger scheme, is it written different? Is it?
Sidewalks are, in the past, we have not really, to be quite honest, we have not enforced the sidewalk. We put the sidewalk program out there because it's very hard to enforce it. Not everyone has the means to replace the sidewalk, and we would probably not get a lot of them replaced if we did not pay the full cost of it.
And I would agree with that, but I would also say that a lot of people don't have the means to take care of their rundown houses, and we enforce that.
We enforce it, but sometimes they still don't. We will take a look at that sidewalk in Jackson.
Okay. That one's in particular, but I mean, there's a lot all over town, and it goes back to the way our city looks, which is a big thing. So.
And we have looked at, maybe rewriting the program where, go to the neighborhoods and look at ones that really need to be replaced after we don't get lots of takers on the program. Replace some of those.
On the Adopt a Street program, how does that work?
It's a volunteer program which actually comes into play. It started with our Clean It Up, Green It Up. We actually advertise for people to come out and volunteer to clean up certain areas of town, and actually people, they pick the areas that they would like to clean up.
Is there like a requirement that they have to do?
Actually, there's two. Once they sign up, they need to clean it up 4 times a year. We provide the bags, and they call in and tell us when they're going to clean it up, and then we will actually pick up the bags once they clean it up.
So, and that's open to anybody?
That's open to anybody, and our Clean It Up, Green It Up will be May 2nd this year, and we're actually in the process of soliciting businesses and people to come forth and actually clean up those areas.
All I got.
More questions, Rita? When someone moves out of a rental house and they put trash bags out and Love picks up the trash bags, then they start shoveling stuff outside, how long can the stuff lay out in the yard before somebody has to pick it up?
Actually, it's just like any other thing that we enforce. It's a 7-day notice period. I think you're going to see lots of trash and debris out now because of the spring cleanup. I know there are several areas that we've had calls on that people have moved out and the owners are cleaning it up, and some of them were actually going to clean up themselves and put liens against the property because they're out-of-state owners, Arizona, and different places, things like that. The properties are posted once we can find it.
And when someone has a fire, is there a certain amount of time that they have to deal with the property, or just whenever?
Actually, we can't do anything with that. It's just released from the investigation of that fire.
Okay.
And then as far as the demolition of that on fire structures, usually you have to look at the insurance policy. Sometimes it's provided in there that the debris and cleanup is covered in that coverage.
We get a lien by statute for the cleanup cost against the we have to do that.
I'm going to say there's a 30-day window in those policies that they have to deal with.
I was out of state for 10 days and come back and you got 3 or 4 calls on both of those instances. I don't know if when the city does the concrete work compared to bidding the concrete work, is the city a lot higher as far as their cost or cheaper?
Overall, I would say the out-of-pocket expense, when you look at material cost, I think is probably cheaper. It depends on how much, when you really put the labor to it and everything, it's probably similar. but it depends on where you want your crews and how much time you have to do that versus other things. So it becomes more of a managing of a time issue than a cost issue in order to get everything else done.
So I can say on our side, when we run the numbers, it depends on what kind of concrete you're pouring. Because certain kinds of pours require additional pieces of equipment, rolling screeds, power screeds that we may or may not have. And so sometimes it's a lot more cost effective to have a contractor do a certain kind of job. Like when we replace a shelter floor, we'll never do those ourselves. It's a lot more cost effective to have someone come and do it.
For some reason, when the city does the street, you drive across the patch, you look back, so there's a patch back there. And we have contractors to do it, and there's a boom, 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 boom. It just, city does a pretty good job.
Yeah, they do.
Yes. Raglan City, I'm sorry. Okay, it's all yours.
I don't have a question for Rita. I just wanted to comment, Mayor, that I think like many people, I wasn't aware of how dire the circumstances of the highway department are. And I'm very concerned about it, and I hope that there's something that we can do as a city. I would be glad myself as an individual or as a councilman to lend my voice to those that are approaching the legislature with some influence, I hope. This is terrible, and we lose those federal funds, our state is going to suffer drastically.
I would say to any councilman here, and I know Bruce and some of the city staff's aware of, but Jeannie Riddle is here Friday, so you might drop in. We've talked
The
about
first Friday.
First Friday
of every month at
1:30.
1:30 at the courthouse.
Yeah, so why don't you, I've been going to a couple of them, but...
Well, I'll make every effort to be there,
Yeah.
and I've already offered to Presiding Commissioner Hobbs to work with him in any way we can, or I can. This is a serious problem. People
Absolutely.
want everything, but they don't want to pay for anything, and it's just not going to work that way.
It doesn't
They've
work.
gotten it for a long time, and now it's time to pay up, and I hate to sound like I'm liberal, but because God knows I'm not, but by any stretch of the imagination, but it is time to pay up and get these roads fixed. I don't recall a time, I'm only 62, but I don't recall a time in my life that I've ever gone down I-70 that it wasn't being worked on somewhere. And I know I-55 south of St. Louis is the same way. I thought for a long time they made traffic barrels down there. We're selling them beside the road. But I do encourage people to look into this, think about it, and think about what the future is going to bring, because this is a very significant problem that's been brought to our attention tonight, and I appreciate Brian doing so. Thank you.
Bruce?
I don't have anything this time.
I have a couple items. Monday, I happened to have the grandkids here. We went to Lakeview Park, this is for Chad, and we were bike riding around there, and the kids walked down to the lake and kept saying, well, there's a whole bunch of fish down there.
Shad, yeah.
What did they...
It's typical on that lake because it's so productive, because it's shallow, that we have large age classes of shad, and during the winter, when there is ice over the top of the lake and the oxygen level drops a little bit, that oldest generation of shad dies because they're aging out, you call them decrepit fish. And because that lake is so productive, you tend to see a lot of those in the spring when we've had good ice cover. Because when there's ice cover, the eagles, the hawks, and the turtles and everything, those don't get to them as effectively. So they pile up over the winter, basically. Long story short, it's
A couple catfish in there, too, though.
yeah, there's always going to be a few other fish, but it has to do with low oxygen levels in the winter when the ice cover's on the lake.
Another question my travels about, some people have been talking about not having the hours available to take their mulch and things to the yard. I don't know if you've heard those comments or not. They say, that it's not open when we can take it there, so. Or I guess those hours are changing, right?
Those hours are going to be changing. April 1st, we're going to be open from 4 to 6, Tuesday through Friday. Those hours are going to expand once we get the yard work done. We have a lot of work to do to the yard, and Kenzie's not here right now, but we just finished the survey, or Jim finished the survey last week, and we're going to meet out there Thursday, and we're going to finish some of the details on our plan. But all the culverts and the drainage that were there originally, they're all blocked up and covered up, and we got to go in and reestablish drainage, or we're going to have a muck pit such as you've never seen over time. So that's kind of where it is right now. We need to have time during the day, during construction weather, to get that yard regraded, and then we'll expand those hours back out on Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and still be on Saturday.
I'm still checking on this, but a good neighbor who was helping an elderly lady was taking some stuff out there and said they were refused. They wouldn't take it from...
What were they taking?
I'm not sure. Like I say, I've been trying to get a hold of this person all day.
Give me a name, and I'll talk to them.
Okay.
Find out what's going on and follow up on it.
I think it was just yard stuff. They were, raking the yard and stuff, but maybe not.
Well, sometimes when there's somebody working there, when people pull up to the gate and the gate's locked, they say they were refused. When it was just we weren't open, working on other things. But give me a name and I'll follow it up and we'll make sure they get taken care of.
Okay, thank you. Okay, ready for public comments.
Thomas Feeler from 1617 Meadow Lane. I was walking out on Western the other day, and I was speaking to a couple of residents on the road, and that road is actually falling apart. To the extent of, I didn't know there was a layer of tarp apparently under asphalt, but there is, and I found out because you can actually go and tug on it, and there's chunks of the road coming off, specifically in front of 1411, and then there's a couple other houses that even if you drive down it today, you'll still see standing water on the road in the ditch beside the road in some places and coming out onto the road. And I mean, it's not rained for about a week now. So I told them I would...
Is that Northwestern or Southwestern you're talking?
Northwestern, yeah.
Thank you.
So I just told them I'd bring it up, and a lot of them didn't even know what to do with that information or who to go to with it. So I said, well, I go to city council meetings, I can go tell them. So, and if I could just find out what type of follow-up so I can, so they know that they weren't just ignored or whatever.
I will give this to Kenzie, and he had to leave this evening, and I'll give it to him, and you're certainly welcome to check with him, or I can have him call you.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll check up with them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing or seeing none, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Nichols?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. No one who can kill both.